So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our panel discussion on big tech perspectives and scaling AI across global enterprises. Let me get my timer. Let me get my timer set here, and we'll be ready to roll. Okay, so we're at a pivotal moment where AI, particularly generative AI, is no longer an emerging technology. It's becoming a fundamental driver of business transformation. The challenge is no longer if organizations should adopt AI, but how to scale it effectively, securely, and responsibly. So today we'll be looking at what it takes to bring AI into large enterprises, some of the obstacles that companies face, and the exciting opportunities that are ahead. So to quickly introduce our panelists here, to help us kind of unpack these critical topics, I'm really honored to be joined by two outstanding leaders. From Amazon Web Services, Stephan Hadinger. He's going to be sharing some insights on key questions businesses are asking about generative AI, how to assure accuracy, security, cost efficiency, as well as some of the evolving trends in enterprise AI adoption. From IBM, we have Arnaud Pelletier. He will walk us through some of the biggest challenges that companies are facing when scaling AI, from workforce challenges to governance and IBM's strategic approach to overcoming them. Also, he's going to be discussing some specialized models, open source AI, and what a strong collaboration system looks like. So to dive in, Stephan, I wanted to start with you. Many enterprises they're excited about generative AI, but they also have concerns. One of the things I know that we discussed was the issue around accuracy, security, and cost. Which of these do you see as the biggest blocker to adoption today, and how are companies addressing it?
Yeah, thanks. Okay, thanks, Philip. Hello, everybody. I'm really pleased to be here, and maybe before answering that, just to say that, so as you know, I'm part of Amazon Web Services, AWS, so the cloud computing part division of the Amazon group. The first thing, and sometimes customers are a bit surprised about Amazon talking a lot of AI and say to me, like, what Amazon knows has been doing AI for a long time, actually for over 20 years. It's everywhere in every division of the Amazon business. So, and we acquired also a strong experience because within AWS, we've been proposing solutions on AI for more than 6 years, used by more than 100,000 companies. So of course, generative AI just, got it more viewed by the consumer market and by the boards, so it created some acceleration. We've been investing a lot, and we'll go deeper, I guess, in the solutions. But when I talk to IT people and to CIOs, I typically get 3 questions. The first one is, how do I ensure that I'm bringing business value? We heard lots of testimonies. And one of the concerns is hallucinations. Of course, if you are launching a new system, especially in HR or legal whatsoever, and you have hallucinations, that's a big concern. So I'll come back to this. The second question is about security of data, but also new surfaces of attack. And here we're bringing the same security as we always do within AWS. Everything is privatized to private per customers, and nobody at AWS has access to customer data, and the model providers don't have access either. So whether you're using Mistral, Llama, and Claude from Anthropic, and so on, the logs, the prompts, and the data is never shared within AWS, and as well with the model providers. The third question, no surprise, is about cost. Fanny talked a little bit about that as well. So to answer to those, especially to the business value and to the cost, our belief is that there is no single technology to solve everything. You need to grasp the appropriate model with the appropriate questions. And I would say, especially with the last presentation, I would say models with an S, with a plural, because also it's a question of combining the models. One of the ideas we're seeing a lot as well with agentic is maybe having one big model for long-term, or it's long-term is a few days actually, so long-term process management, and then calling lots of small models. So choice of model is the key.
Great, thank you. So Arnaud, beyond the technology itself, scaling AI in large enterprises requires a cultural and an organizational shift. What are some of the big workforce and governance barriers that companies are facing, and how can they overcome them?
Okay, hello everybody. I will probably do the same before answering to your points. I will also refer to the fact that we have been working with AI within IBM for a couple of decades, I would say. You probably heard of Watson, and you probably heard about all the work we have done on AI. So Gen AI is the continuity of what we have been doing. And we are a very much open ecosystem. We're working a lot with partners, and we're partnering a lot with AWS, for instance, which is one of our main partners. And this is something important I will come back to. But coming back to your question, we have been, thanks to our Institute for Business Value research company, we have been doing a study with CEOs and asking them what are the main issues, the main difficulties, the most important barriers they face regarding Gen AI. And the first thing they underlined was they encounter a significant challenge related to workforce readiness and organizational culture when they try to implement and scale generative AI. So culture and organizational readiness is something important. The second thing they have been underlining in 2024 with our global AI index, 33% of companies consider that there is a lack of skilled professionals, and that is a main barrier for AI adoption. They search and they are looking for competencies. So if you are having AI competencies, if you are expert in Gen AI, please come. Many companies need you to work for them. So they need specialized technical knowledge, and they challenge it to acquire them. And the last thing, and you have been referring to it, is very important for us and for the companies we have been interviewing. Governance and risk management is key. To scale AI, you need to have the proper governance. You need to have frameworks, and you need to mitigate risks. You need to reduce bias, which still exists, and also, of course, ensure compliance with evolving regulation. We know that it's changing all the time. So having such an approach is key to remove these barriers.
Wonderful, thank you. So shifting to, I want to talk a little bit about AI adoption trends. And Stephan, over the past year, we've seen generative AI evolve from individual productivity tools to broader business-wide improvements. So as we look ahead to 2025, you predict a shift towards AI-driven innovation and new revenue streams. What does that look like in practice, and which industries are leading the change?
Can I go back a little bit in the past before answering that?
Absolutely.
What we saw really from the adoption in, and I apologize if I overgeneralize, but roughly this is what we saw. 2023 was more focused on chatbots for individual productivity. You know, translation, summarization, and so on. One of the big questions from the businesses is, what is the return of investment? If I say it differently, if your team, your employee is able to do the minutes of a meeting in 30 seconds instead of 8 minutes, what is happening to the 7.5 minutes left? Do they spend more time at the coffee machine, or do they have better productivity? That's a tough question. I don't have the answer. But the thing is, and many of the solutions on the market are considered by being too expensive compared to that. So one of example to tackle that is Veolia, not far from here in Aubervilliers. They launched an internal product called a Secure GPT, and it's based on Amazon Bedrock and other products. And what they do is basically to recreate a chatbot and RAG and some self-service. They currently have over 53,000 users per month, so it's widely adopted. But the most interesting part, it costs them less than $2 per month per user. So my point is, ROI is a good question, but when you are able to drive the cost at, let's say, under $2 or €2 per month, it's not so much a question. It's so cheap and it's still useful. So 2023, individual productivity. 2024 was more about business process productivity. Basically doing better, faster, cheaper. Many technologies, RAG, fine-tuning, and so on. I mean, I have tons of examples. And I think 90% of the projects are really here. So lots of examples. But my request or my guess for 2025 is how AI and generative AI will be able to deliver products and services that were not possible before. How to create new revenue streams. And when I ask the questions to enterprises, like what's the next trend, I very often get a big silence. So we all need to work on that. And I can give some hints. The first thing is, if you are able to improve business processes by an order of magnitude, it does create some new revenue streams. We saw that with Arkema, for instance, in chemicals. They have a process for compliance and patent management. It used to spend like 2 weeks. Now it's less than 1 hour. So lots of benefits. A beautiful startup as well is EasyUp. They are helping pharmaceutical companies to accelerate all the documents you need to put new drugs on the market. They're already like they're saving like between 2 to 4 weeks, which is huge. It's in millions of euros. And the last one, maybe as really doing something completely new. I'm really thrilled. We are working with Okin and Bioptimus, so French startup as well in healthcare and health science. And they just launched, I think it's last week, their new LLM for drug analysis and for the healthcare market. So it's not speaking French or English, it's speaking the language of life, as they say.
Fantastic. So Arnaud, IBM advocates for specialized AI models, open source AI, and strong governance. Why are these factors so crucial in successfully scaling AI across companies?
They are very important, and before going to that, I think we need to step back on the importance of AI going from productivity to innovation, and then we'll be able to go back to these points, because in the era of agentic AI, companies are currently focused on productivity to improve productivity in order to guarantee the ROI of their investment. This is very important. You also mentioned that, and we see many domains. You probably know them already, but in HR there is process automation, chatbots for support. In supplies, you can automate the source-to-pay process. In IT, of course, with code generation, automatic testing and deployment, compliance, marketing and content creation, where, for example, we have luxury clients seeing a campaign cost reduced from a half, even for sometimes to a third. So you can generate huge economics of scale thanks to Gen AI. And as an example, a very concrete example, we have been testing on ourselves this kind of approach. We call that IBM Client Zero. And we generated $3 billion of cost reductions thanks to this, to applying this to our entire company, a 300,000 people company. So this is something very important, and this is something happening right now. But the other thing, which is very important, is going to innovation. And going to innovation, there are some companies who start to use AI and Gen AI in many innovative cases, and they generate a competitive advantage. For that, we announced a partnership with L'Oréal on product formulation, and this is an example of what we are doing in very broad innovation on R&D, where our R&D is working with their R&D, and this is augmented by Gen AI. For instance, regarding that innovation, we are building the future with what we call rapid discovery. And this is an accelerated research process. We have AI with powered deep search, AI and quantum enriched simulation, and cloud-based autonomous labs. So this is something very important, moving from cost reduction to innovation. Then what we believe strongly, and this is probably more your question, but I wanted to underline these 2 points because they are very important for us. These 2 aspects of what Gen AI can bring, cost reduction and innovation. We think we should emphasize creating smaller and specialized AI models tailored to specific business application. They will be costless, less energy, more relevant. We also think we should commit to open source AI to have more flexibility, transparency, and cost efficiency. Again, I will not come back to AI governance and security, which is a key. And the last thing, in order to take the best value of all of that Gen AI, you need to be in a collaborative ecosystem, working with partners, again, like AWS, and to be able to have model more tailored to your activities.
Thanks, Arnaud. I still have some bad news on top of that. Well, not so bad news, but if you want good AI, you need good data. And I mean, there is a saying, I would say in French, sorry, I would put it in French, pas de data, pas de chocolat. So you can translate it like no data, no chocolate. It doesn't work like that. But no, my point is to do all those Gen AI projects, we see companies that put back on the top of the shelf the data projects, because you need to have access to all the data of the company, but also to clean the data, which is a big challenge.
Wonderful. So we'll move on to the next point, which is scaling AI successfully. When we talk about AI adoption, and it isn't just about innovation, it's also about responsible deployment. How is AWS, this is a question for Stephan, helping companies balance AI's potential with governance, security, and compliance?
Yeah, sure. Our goal, and this is true for the entire AWS, is to democratize technology. Is the fact that whether you're a startup, an individual, or a big CAC 40 company, you have access to exactly the same services, the same performance, the same security, the same innovation. So it's impersonated with Gen AI in a service called Amazon Bedrock, where literally in a few clicks and with zero commitment and zero investment, you have access to lots of Mistral, Anthropic, Claude, Llama 3.1, 3.2, DeepSeek as well, DeepSeek R1, and some others, and of course Hugging Face as well, and we are a big partner of Hugging Face with millions of, well, it's more than 1 million of models. And by the way, we also have Amazon create Amazon Nova, so models that are created by Amazon as well as a choice. And the fact is, one of the key points is cost. On the Amazon models, there are frontier models, and they cost basically 1/4 of the cost of similar models. So it could be interesting as well. So of course, cost and the easiness of access to technology is one thing. To go back on cost and to go even further into, let's say, resource utilization, electricity consumption, and also decarbonation, I have some good news. The first one is in Europe. We already achieved our 100% decarbonated electricity target last year. But still, it's not a reason to consume electricity without, in an uncontrolled manner, because the greenest electricity is, of course, the one you don't consume. So we also work a lot in custom silicon chips. We've done that already with something called Graviton 5 years ago. So maybe you don't know about Graviton. It's one of our best sellers. You all have the same technology in your pocket. It's what's in your phone. It's called ARM technology. And today, more than 50% of our servers use this ARM technology. And it's 30% cheaper for customers, the first good news. And it consumes 50 to 60% less electricity very good news. And on generative AI, we do the same. We have new chips called Trainium 2. And so we are a partner of NVIDIA, of course, but as an option as well. And Trainium 2, Anthropic did the training on Trainium 2. They saved 30% cost. When you do trainings in the range of $100 of million, 30% is not a rounding error. And in terms of speed, we did the optimization both on Claude 3.5 Haiku and on Llama 3. It's 60% faster, and it consumes less energy. So there are some good news, but again, it's a question of combination of all those models.
Wonderful, thank you. So Arnaud, one of the biggest challenges that enterprises face is an AI skills gap. So what is your opinion? Do organizations need to hire more AI specialists, or can they upskill their existing workforce?
Again, it's probably both. It's very important to train people, and I will take again our own example because this is the one I know the best. We have been training and making everybody within IBM using GenAI models in a secure platform where we have several LLM, where we have access to agents who are already customized to specific tasks to help us on a daily basis, on our daily activities. And this is the best way to train people. You make them use the GenAI, you make them see the benefits. So this won't make AI specialists, but it will make everybody understanding the benefits of the GenAI, being able to share with the others what can be the best use case, how they can improve their daily routines and their daily habitudes to improve the way they work. The other thing is that we have been again working on AI for decades. So we have a lot of people being already trained, and they get upskilled to reinforce our resources. But I think one of the most important things is that we gave access to a secure environment with several LLM, with agents, with pre-configured agents. Every day we got new agents, and we could create our own. And 97% of the 160,000 IBM consulting people have been using these tools and these agents last year. So this was a huge progress to have people being trained and being capable to use and manage and sell these kinds of tools.
Wonderful. Want to move on to future outlook. Stephan, I have a question for you. One of the biggest concerns with Gen AI is hallucinations. In other words, AI confidently generating inaccurate information. How is AWS working with customers to improve business accuracy and trust?
Yeah, it's getting better with time. So I would say the models are actually hallucinating less. So it's getting more the question of quality of data as well. But the thing is, we've been investing in technologies like that we call guardrails, also to check the inputs and the outputs. So beyond hallucinations is also how to control toxicity. To say it in plain words, if you are doing a chatbot, you don't want the chatbot to insult your customers, of course. And so you need to pay attention to that. We mix mathematics and Gen AI. So we just launched guardrails based on automated reasoning. So the thing is, when reading, for instance, insurance policies, the first step is for the model to have a mathematical model of the policies. So to reconstruct, based on reading the policies, what exactly are the rules, for example, for insurance. And then when the model is used, for instance, when there is a problem and you want to see if you are insured or not for this problem, so the model will generate an answer, but this mathematical model will also check that the answer follows the rules, the mathematical rules. So we're investing in some very deep technologies to make sure that there is no hallucinations. I have a question just also and back also to the numbers of productivity you mentioned. Are there any developers in the room? A few. Oh, okay. Great. We are also very pleased. We have a partnership with another French startup, Poolside. And Poolside is working very hard into the next generation of Gen AI for developers. And they will launch their new models called Malibu in like March, April, something like that. So stay tuned.
Wonderful. So we often talk about the risks of AI, and this is a question for you, Arnaud. But let's flip the discussion and talk about what is exciting. What is it that excites you the most about AI's future impact on organizations?
There are many things. The most exciting one is probably the fact that everybody will become a developer tomorrow. I might shock somebody, but tomorrow we might, in a couple of years, we might be able to develop our own apps using Gen AI, using specific models, having an ID and having it being developed in the next few hours. Of course, we will need help. Of course, you will need processes, but still, this is something that might change a lot. What I would like to add, because I think we are coming to the end of this speech, are 3 main recommendations. The first one, I come back to your point, because it's the basis, it's the key. You need to have the right IT system. You have to have the IT foundation, the full capability on AI, to provide the full capability on AI. So data collection, data analysis, data reporting systems must be operational and efficient to feed the AI agents with reliable, up-to-date information. This might be obvious, but this is the key. This is the foundation. The second thing is that you have to select, when moving to AI, the companies have to select the right use case. Do not test everything. I mean, it was useful in the beginning to test many things. Now, companies need to focus. And their focus is to be on problem solving or process improvement, where AI can bring value. This sounds basic, but many companies are not doing that. They are testing things without starting from the problem or the improvement that they expect. So you have to client focus on existing assets and POCs, and this is what we do before starting anything. And then we develop the use case and monitor it along the build, the run phase. And last but not least, to maximize the expected benefits and the right value and foster adoption, we recommend, and I recommend you to work as much as possible with the final users, the one you will solve the problems, the one who will improve the processes on the way of working. They are sometimes forgotten when people are developing new models or new solutions, I would say new projects with AI. And it's key to work with these people, the one working on a daily basis, because they will give you the clue and what it needs to be solved. This is very essential.
Wonderful, thank you. And just as a final takeaway question, if you had to give one piece of advice to enterprises that are looking to scale successfully in 2025, what would it be? You each have 1 minute.
Training.
No pressure.
Training by far. And we do our, we have also our mission into training people. So we already trained 200,000 people in France. And we took a very bold commitment of training an additional 600,000 people in France into digital, not only Gen AI, digital by 2030.
I will repeat myself. Prepare your IT. Be sure to have the right data in your IT systems. And then work on the right use cases with an ROI and work with the people who will benefit from your project and from your Gen AI projects.
Wonderful. This has been really an insightful discussion, and I thank you both. Hope you can continue the discussion later, but thank you all for participating.